This video is going to be a quick look at some of my favorite outdoor and survival books. Hey folks, my name is Brian and you're watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for checking in. So today's video, as I said, is going to be about some of my favorite survival outdoor books. Promise I'm going to do my best not to bore you. Going to make this quick, but if you're looking for some good information about the survival and the outdoors, then maybe you'll find something in here that you'll like. So before I really get started too much, I want to talk real briefly though that you cannot learn to survive from reading a book. You can't learn to survive from watching a video. I think John with Wingman 115 did an excellent little video recently, just kind of touching on that subject real briefly, that you got to get some dirt time. You got to get hands-on training. Books and videos and stuff are good resources, but if you don't put rubber to the road and you don't actually apply the information you're putting in your brain, it's not going to do you any good. You're going to be out there fumbling around when you really need the information. You need the skills. So books and videos can give you information, but you don't get the skill without doing it. So just let me go ahead and say that up front. I don't want anybody to think that you're gonna watch this video or read this book or these books or whatever and you're gonna be an expert, because there's no such thing, first of all. I'm certainly not one. So, but I do want to talk, the very first book probably that I kind of got, and this is a really, really classic book, it's called Outdoor Survival Skills. And this is by a guy named Larry Dean Olsen. If you ever saw the movie Jeremiah Johnson with Robert Redford, which was a really good movie if you haven't seen it, Larry Dean Olsen was the technical advisor for that movie. So in his sole, I guess his focus, and if you've been around bushcraft or primitive survival stuff, I'm sure you recognize his name, but it's primitive stuff. So from flint knapping to to hand drills to fire to primitive shelters, just a whole lot of cool stuff in here. This happens to be the 1973 edition. I don't know if they've got a new one out now or not, but it's called Outdoor Survival Skills. You can get this. I'm not going to try to do a book review on it for you. I'm just kind of showing you some titles. I recommend it highly if you're interested in any of that stuff. It's not only is the information good, it's just an interesting read, very interesting read. So we'll start with that one. Obviously, Bushcraft by Kochanski is a very, very popular book. If you haven't got it, you probably should. It's just a basic classic, and some of his stuff may or may not be applicable to where you are, or maybe you won't even agree with it. But for the most part, it's got a lot of really good illustrations in it. They're all hand line drawings, which in some cases make things a lot clearer. I don't like them for plant identification, but for showing how to do things and skills, they sometimes are easier to understand than an actual photographs. So Bushcraft by Kochanski, I would recommend that highly. It's a really good book, got a lot of great information in it. Another classic is the SAS Survival Handbook. It's Lofty Wiseman, and this is a really good book. This is the full size. They make a little mini one too, and it's got a whole lot of information in it also. A lot of line drawings and stuff. I guess you can't see those, but a lot of line drawings. But one thing I'll say about this, it's got a lot of information, and it doesn't really go into a lot of detail about some things. So some of the things are really, really detailed, and some of them are kind of not. But altogether, it's a very, very authoritative resource on survival. And if you're interested in that, this is almost like a must, got to have in your library. A couple of those, so those are kind of like the classics. I'm sorry, my nose keeps itching here. There's a couple more here. One of you guys recommended this to me, and I got it. It's called Survival with Style. I've not read it, all of it. But it's a really classic book also, and it kind of touches on the basics too. I would compare this maybe to Bushcraft with a different flavor, a little different type. This is more about survival than it is about Bushcraft, but it covers a lot of the same format. It's a lot of basics and things are broken up. So that's Bradford, Angier, and I'll put links, or at least a list of these things below, so you can. You don't have to pause the video and all that mess if you care. One of the things I do want to mention, it is a classic, and this is something you should absolutely have in your library. It's a Boy Scout Fieldbook. This is a early edition. This is a 1967 edition or 1970 printing. I bought this off eBay because that's when I was in Scouts in the early 70s. They've got 5 or 6 editions out now. The older ones have more old school type information in them about fires and digging trenches. As things have progressed, they've gotten a little more politically correct and a little more environmentally correct. So, but this is absolutely a great resource. The information in here is just unbelievable. It's just really, really good. I highly recommend that one. So that's the field book. We're gonna blow through these. Here's another one that's pretty good. I would say this is kind of close to the, again, to the Bushcraft type format. Lofty Wiseman. It's got a lot of just basic information, but it covers a wide gamut. And it talks about survival psychology, missing, staying found, survival medicine, impact of weather. So this is just a good basic survival primer. Pete Kummerfeldt was a Air Force Survival Academy instructor, Air Force training, survival training director at the United States Air Force Academy for 12 years, amongst other things. So he knows what he's talking about. The book's very well written. It's got black and white photographs in it. But again, that's surviving a wilderness emergency. So that's another pretty basic standard for your library. A couple things that are maybe not so standard, might be a little unusual, but I'm gonna go over them anyway because I like them a lot. First, let me show you this book here. This is called Cache Lake Country, and it's by Rowlands, and the guy's name is John J. Rowlands. John J. Rowlands. And this is a fictional novel. I guess that's redundant, isn't it? It's a fictional book that takes place in the North. What I like about it, there's a lot of, even though it's fictional, there's a lot of knowledge and skill and stuff in it. It tells you how to make moccasins. It shows drawings on how to do all those different things, how to portage a canoe. There's a lot of information, and it's a very good read. It's very interesting. It's not boring at all. That's called Cache Lake Country, however you want to pronounce that. I highly recommend that book. It's just a really, really good read. Really good read. Next, there's two books here I want to talk about real quick. Both in my library. It's Cody Lundin, and I put some duct tape on this one because it says keeping your blank alive, and I didn't really want my kids to be seeing that too much. So, but it's a great book. It's a very basic survival book, but I like Cody's style. You know, if you know, he was on the Dual Survival show. He's the barefoot dude, the hippie dude, whatever you want to call him. Dave, it was on there with Dave Canterbury, but he knows what he's doing. He's kind of a Western United States desert kind of survival guy. But this is a really great, easy, well-written, kind of humorous, and I think it's easy to read. It's called The Art of Keeping Your Beep Alive. So Cody Lundin there, and this is When All Hell Breaks Loose by Cody Lundin, and it's got a lot more stuff about urban survival, and it's obviously a lot bigger book, and it's got some cool, full color photos and stuff in there. So this is not as much about the wilderness. But these two books, Cody Lundin, really great. Building the Perfect Survival Kit. Survival kits are a big deal. This is by John D. McCann. This is a really good book. It talks about how to make your own survival kit, what you might need and might not need, and some different items that are really, really good for it. So I highly recommend that one. The other one's the Boy Scout Handbook, and this is an older edition, but this has got some great information in it also to kind of supplement. Squirrels are up there knocking pine cones out, to supplement the field book. This is a different kind of book called Deep Survival, and I really like this book. This book was recommended by Doug Ritter. He does a lot of survival and preparedness type training, and he's really considered an expert. And so, but this is about the psychology behind survival more than anything else, and it goes over some stories of some people who actually were involved in intense survival situations and survived, and kind of interviews them and talks about their thought processes and their emotional what they went through, and just things you got to have up here to make it through. You got to have the skills in your hands, but you got to have a little bit going on upstairs too, to give you the right mindset and the right attitude to survive. And last but not least, this is a cool little book. I found this in a used bookstore, so you may or may not be able to find this online somewhere, but I'd highly recommend it. And I'm going to look and see if I can. I'll put a link below. It's Finding Your Way in the Outdoors, and it's by Robert L. Moores Jr. It's an outdoor life book. This is an older book. It was published in, gosh, a long time ago, 1972. So that's when I was a kid in the Scouts. And it's all about navigation. It covers A to Z, really, really, really detailed, really, really simple, easy to understand. And it's a great, great book. If you want to know about navigation and land navigation, this is absolutely great resource for doing that, and it covers it in more detail than any other book I've ever seen. So it's called Finding Your Way in the Outdoors. So that's about it. Again, I rushed through this. I really didn't want to make this a boring, long book review, but I did want to kind of go over some of these titles. Do me a favor, if you will. If you got some books that maybe that you recommend that I didn't cover here, or put it in the comments below, because I'm always looking for more information and just more research material, and I just like reading about this stuff. So, and I'm sure everybody else watching the video would too. So let's kind of use the comments section and share your knowledge with all of us, because we sure would like to hear it. And I really appreciate your watching, as always. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking the thumbs up if you like this video. I hope it wasn't too boring for you. And there's a Amazon link below, so if you buy something through there, it supports this channel, so it's a shameless plug. I appreciate all your support. Once again, my name is Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time.